Adam Simon on the Fishbowl. Welcome.
Thank you, man. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Just getting off of being sick. I just had the flu for the past week, so
Oh,
but
wow.
I'm
That's
feeling
not good.
yeah, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling better now. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a nice, cool, warm, cold day here in Pittsburgh, PA.
Nice.
Little break from the insane, dry, humid heat that we've been having all summer long. But
Really?
yeah. I mean, maybe we're getting a dose of California weather over here.
Yeah, but it's been a little hot out here. I mean, we've been up in the 90s. A couple weeks ago, we were up in the hundreds, so it was a little crazy. I love Pittsburgh, man. I was out there. Oh gosh, when was it? Last year for the Pittsburgh Wizard World Comic Con.
Oh,
Uh,
very cool.
yeah, I was out there with this artist buddy of mine, Rob Pryor. I was out there with him and helping him out with his booth and stuff, and then promoting the films and stuff like that. I love Pittsburgh.
Awesome. Pittsburgh is a great place. I actually just graduated from Point Park here for screenwriting. And Pittsburgh has a great film community and a very strong viewpoint on the arts in general.
Oh,
Um,
that's fantastic.
yeah, I mean, Point Park had a great film program. They also have a very good theater program, uh, one of the better art schools in the Pittsburgh area. I cannot complain with any of the teachers that I got at Point Park, and they all knew what they were talking about in different ways and had different ways of like teaching the classes, which some I appreciate more than others. But taught me to develop my craft, and now I'm trying to make it as a working screenwriter slash fishbowl podcast host.
That's awesome. Well, good on you, man. Good on you for doing it. Are you a Rolling Stones fan?
I am.
Okay, because I was noticing that from your profile pic that's on here. I'm a huge Rolling Stones fan. Growing up, I grew up in a very strict religious household, and so I didn't get exposed to a lot of different music as a kid. It wasn't until I got into the public school system that I started, being exposed to different things. But I feel like, I like all kinds of music, but I feel like there was a distinct, like people that I've gravitated to in my life. There are people who were either in the Beatles camp or people who were in the Rolling Stones camp. And I've always been firmly planted in the Rolling Stones camp, and I usually gravitate to people who are similarly inclined. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you. Like, I love the Beatles, don't get me wrong, but, I'm like Stones all the way. In fact, I mean, my number one from the classic rock era is Jimi Hendrix. That
Yeah,
dude,
for sure,
that dude
for
is a
sure.
badass guitarist.
Yeah, there's not a lot like him since,
Right,
and
right.
um, yeah, that's really interesting. I like the Beatles. I think like their later stuff, I gravitated to a little bit more than their first few albums, and then the same way. I have big disagreements with people on this. They'll talk about Nirvana. Nirvana's great. Love Nirvana. Have all their albums. But around the same time, when everybody was going crazy about Nirvana, I was all about Alice in Chains.
Same
Um,
here, same here.
yeah, love that band. I think it's so crazily overlooked, and yeah, I love the band. I love everything about them.
A few summers ago here in Pittsburgh, the summer of 2013, um, we had out the new Alice in Chains come and Soundgarden in the same month.
Oh god, dude, that's amazing.
I saw both shows. Alice in Chains, it was shocking how much they sounded like the same band, even
Yeah,
with Lane Staley gone. That new
yeah,
singer, if and also he's African American, and you would not know the difference listening to the albums unless you saw them live. And even
right.
when I saw them live, it was even scarier because the dude live sounded pretty much exactly like Staley,
Yeah,
and
he totally does.
put
He's
on
amazing.
a great show.
Yeah, incredible vocalist and it's just a great band. I think and even in the media and the press, I think Nirvana. There's kind of this Nirvana worship and how he went down and how he went out, and especially with Kurt Cobain. But when you look at Alice in Chains, if you listen to the lyrics and the songs, like the whole thing was a cautionary tale. It was a cautionary tale about drug use and not to, to go down some of the roads and the decisions that he was going down. And I don't know, for some reason the media has kind of overlooked Alice in Chains, but I certainly don't. I love them. I think
Yeah,
they're
I'm
great.
I'm I'm in a complete agreement with you on that. I really like. I mean, growing up, because I was like born in '88, so I'm technically like allowed to say I'm a '90s kid. Um, And when I was growing up, it was Nirvana all the way.
All
And
the way,
then
yeah.
once I was able to, start spending money on, it was still cassettes at the time. Um, I immediately gravitated towards Alice in Chains and Soundgarden and Rage Against the Machine.
Ridge,
Um,
Ridge.
yeah, Rage is amazing. I'm upset that they broke up after only what, like, five 6 albums or something. You know,
Yeah, Zach's got new music out. I mean, he's done. He did that track with Killer Mike,
right?
Run the Jewels, and he's got some other music that he's doing, protest music that's really great. Rage is now reformed, right, and they're
Right. As
doing stuff with
Prophets of
Chuck
Rage.
D and Be Real from Cypress Hill, and it's really fantastic. Yeah, man, like it's funny. We're all kind of a product of musically, artistically, with music, film, movies, television in the era for sure where we grew up, but also the area. Like where I grew up was this Sam Shepard wasteland out in Lancaster, Palmdale, California, which is, no disrespect to my roots or the people who live out there, but it literally is the ass crack of California. It's this, it's this desert, Mojave Desert, Joshua trees, like, nothing as far as I can see, 115-degree weather, no humidity during the summer. And it was crazy because it was post Los Angeles riots, and there was a big move of people from the LA area out north following the riots. So and that created this crazy kind of like desert. It's the weirdest place, man. Like Lancaster, Palmdale. You ever get a chance to get out there? It is. It's like walking into another planet. So musically, growing up, it was always, it started off for me, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, and then junior high school, it was all of a sudden it was like Black Flag, The Misfits, N.w.a, and then Public Enemy. And then all these other, explosion of hip hop artists came into the scene. Even though, like, I was even listening to like Kwame. I don't know if you know who that is, but like, um, these different artists, and then yeah, it just was crazy. I got exposed to a lot of things musically as a kid, which definitely influenced everything else that I did artistically.
It's really funny you say that because it's like the same thing for me. My dad would play Tommy on cassette in the car when I was growing up. So instantly, like growing up, like the Who was my number one favorite classic rock band, and then he would play Zeppelin and the Stones and some of the Beatles. But I grew up listening more to. I had to like explore the Beatles on my own because my dad played more of like the heavier stuff,
Yeah.
and he's 58, and drives a 98 Toyota Camry, and he's still like at 58 is blasting, music louder than the young kids, and it's like all either 90s or Jimi Hendrix or the stuff he grew up on. And to him, like he says this to me all the time, he's like, new music to me is like Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins and all that. And I try and like make him mix CDs when I can, because me personally, like I'm really in tune to multiple genres of music. I love rap, from like basically the dawn of rap up until like '97, but there's still some great stuff out there. But Ice Cube, N.W.A, Dr. Dre, Snoop, Public Enemy, um, Wu
I'm a
Tang Clan,
huge,
like
yeah, I'm a huge Eminem fan. Huge Eminem fan. Huge Yellow fan. He just came out with that Daylight that's on the Magnificent Seven soundtrack, and I'll even
right.
dabble into some. I've got a little boy, and he's all about Skrillex. Unfortunately, no, I'm just kidding. I love some of the stuff that Skrillex says, but I have to like back him up and go, okay, hold on a second. Let's start from the beginning. Let
Right,
me get
right,
you.
right, right.
Yeah,
I'm
because
really a
he.
fan of the game.
Oh yeah, dude, he's great. He's great. I it's funny because I have such a different relationship. Like for me, just because of my upbringing and every like the world that I lived in, I had to go outside for everything that I was going to get. So when I came home, your relationship with your father. When I came home, my dad, was a cop and he was listening to the Beach Boys and Huey Lewis and the News. So it was like I was like, oh God, I gotta get out of here. So
Right, right.
I always had to go home, and in a way, just being the angsty kid that I am, and kind of still am, even as an adult, music was a way for me to protest, uh, things that were happening in my life and things that were going on. So it's interesting, and it's bled in, man. Even today, the stories that I'm writing, the scripts that I'm working on, the just music has been just such a heavy influence on the stories that I tell and what I'm trying to tell.
I definitely know what you mean. My current project that I'm working on is involving a lot of rock and roll, because in a sense it's like a haunted highway rock and roll movie. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it's a total like homage to rock and roll as a historical um, genre of music. I mean, we had Robert Johnson who basically spawned it, and you know, it's to what it's become today. And like the thing that I really see that's really cool and interesting is the music that I'm seeing that the most of right now that I really think could be the next thing is like in the 60s and 70s, it was the British invasion.
Yeah,
And what I would not be surprised seeing if this does indeed happen is the Aussie New Zealand invasion. The music scene going on in Australia and New Zealand right now is ridiculous. Um, so many bands are coming out of there that I'm like listening to that are new. It's like psychedelic, but like with like a new sound. And in my opinion, I could listen to this stuff on the radio and just seeing it be like universal, like the 90s music was and like the 60s and 70s music was. And I, again, would not be surprised if, in 5 to 10 years, that's exactly what happens. But
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I was gonna say too. Uh, what? So the last concert that you went to, was it a Rolling Stones concert, or what was the last concert you went to? And what
I
was the first concert you ever went to?
okay. The Stones actually came this past summer, but it was at the the Heinz Field, which is the Steelers stadium, and
Yeah.
I refused to pay $300 starting out for bleacher seats to go see that band at the age that they're currently at. That just wasn't worth it to me. Even though I really wanted, if they went to Consol Energy Center, which is like the Pittsburgh's new Civic Arena, um,
Right.
uh, I would pay money to go see them there. I saw Eric Clapton there, and I saw Roger Daltrey there. I mean, well, I saw Eric Clapton and Roger Daltrey actually as like one of the last shows before they tore down Civic Arena, and then I saw Roger Waters do the Wall at
And
Console, and that was a great show. Um, I'm not so much a fan of Console because again, it's a little too big for me. I like going. There's several venues in Pittsburgh. There's my favorite is Mr. Smalls, and that's like it's actually a church that they converted into a music venue, and that's basically where the best shows are at because it's like all the bands that are just got out of being bar bands, and it's right before they go to my second favorite venue, Stage AE, which is a great venue, but it's a little more pricey because you're seeing like I saw actually I saw three shows there recently at Stage AE. I got to see Bush from the '90s, which was great. Um, Gavin Rosdale still puts on a great show, and to talk about like a true performer, the guy was in like the middle of one of his songs and like leaped off the stage. It was an outdoor show. Leaped off the stage, walked to the left of the front row, to the middle, to the right of the front row, walked back to like the grassy area, right, left, middle, and then back to the stage, and just let how many people there just run up to him and take selfies. Um, that was pretty awesome. I had never seen anything like that, even at Mr. Smalls or any other shows at Stage 80. The last two shows I saw, one was a Government Mule. Um, Great show. Great to just see a guy jam out on a guitar. And then the very last show I saw was also at Stage 8, and that was Gary Clark Jr. And that dude, I would not be surprised, is Jimi Hendrix reincarnated. He's
That's awesome.
African American, plays the Hendrix note like crazy, and a true guitarist. Um,
That's
he even
And what was the first concert you ever went to
all
as a
right, all
kid?
right, yeah, right. The first concert I ever went to, um, have to think back now.
Well, while you're thinking, you want me to tell you mine? It's a total
Yes,
embarrassment.
you go, you
The
go.
first concert that I ever went to is this is horrific. My oldest sister took me to see Young MC and Milli Vanilli. It was amazing. And I remember at the time I was like, damn, like these guys are running all over to Milli Vanilli. I was like, these guys are running all over the stage and running up into the crowd and doing backflips and shit. Like they must be and still able to just sing. Like they're just killing it. I was like, I don't particularly care for the music, but like, all right, that's wow, like the cardiovascular ability of these guys.
Right.
But then, they're lip syncing. They're lip syncing the entire time. They were lip syncing their lives. But that was the first concert that I went to as a kid, unfortunately. It was terrible. It was really, really bad. Yeah. So you,
What was the most recent? Because I'm on a brain fart.
the most recent that I went to, I saw it was Chris Stills, um, who Crosby, Stills and Nash. They're the son. He's an amazing um, guitarist and vocalist and really kind of cool dude. I've got the chance to hang out with him a few times and watch him do his stuff, and it was really great. He's a really great performer, really great artist, good guy.
That's awesome. Well, I did just remember, and I can't remember how I forgot this. It was Ozfest.
Oh, it was
It
Ozfest?
was Ozfest.
That's amazing. That's
So
incredible.
I don't
That's
remember all of it because I was still pretty young, but I do specifically remember seeing Ozzy perform, and that was pretty cool because I dig Black Sabbath.
awesome. I I got a funny story to tell you about one of your previous guests, um, Frank Grillo.
Frank Grillo, yes.
Yeah. So I actually, it's so funny, man. I've been circling the Joe Carnahan, Frank Grillo universe for quite some time. Um, Now I think the closest I'll probably ever get to Joe is where I am right now, which is beating the shit out of Donald Trump on Twitter. But that's like my favorite pastime, and it ends up being Joe's, and so we have mutual enemies as a result. So like he's much more savvy than I am. Obviously, like he's really good at just blocking people, and I'm not. Like I go in on people, and I go in on people hard, and then it's like why am I going at this guy on Twitter? He's got like 2 followers, and he's just spouting a bunch of racist, stupid bullshit. Anyway, but Frank, well, and actually on Joe, I actually met Joe. It was weird. I met both of these guys in really kind of crazy circumstances. One, I was at the Universal lot with meeting up with this guy Douglas Sosby, who wrote this movie Boulevard. It was Robin Williams' last film, and a great movie. And Doug is such a gifted writer, and he works at Universal. And Ditto Montiel directed that movie, and Ditto Montiel also directed my film Man Down. And so Ditto and this producer named Tracy Falco, who's a really good friend of mine, she kind of made the connection between me and Doug, and so we met up. And Tracy Falco also was one of the producers, I believe it was on Stretch, but she's done quite a few projects with Joe. And so I'm sitting down in the Universal commissary and just having lunch with Doug, and we're talking about movies and future projects and what we're working on and what we're doing. And Doug works, he's older than me, but he works at a surprisingly faster pace than I do. I try to take time on stuff and only put out, one thing here and another thing there. But we were talking, and he said, well, who's some of your influences, man? And I said, I just got done doing this independent film, Synapse, and I did it as kind of a homage to Narc. Narc was like a huge film for me, and not just the movie itself. The performances, how it's shot, is still one of the greatest intros to a film ever. With Jason Patrick running down the street and chasing this guy down.
Mark is my top. I love cop movies, and that's one of my top favorite.
It's amazing, man. Like it's such an amazing film, and so real. My father was a cop, so I grew up in a cop household, and a religious cop household. I could not cut a break. I kept under lockdown. So I watched Narc, and so in doing this film, it's a sci-fi film. I was like, let's go out and do it. But it's not just the movie and how the performances and the style of the piece and everything and how it's cut together. It's also how the movie was made. That these guys, basically had the plug pulled on them mid production, and they had to scrounge and beg, borrow, steal, and try to find a way to get the movie done. And it really is like one of those, even though with names like Ray Liotta and Jason Patric, it's still, has that indie struggling to make a film, feel, right?
Right.
So I'm talking to this dude, I'm talking to Doug about it, and he's like, have you ever met Joe? And I was like, no, I've never met him. But I've seen every movie he's done. Ray, like, is, just phenomenal. Blood Bullets, Octane, all these freaking, like, I've seen everything he's done. So, uh, so we're talking about this. I get up, I go walking out with Doug, and Joe Carnahan comes walking by. And, like I've worked with a lot of people. I did bodyguard work for celebrities for, like 12 years while I was studying acting and screenwriting. And so I'm never like starstruck. But I saw him, and the reason this relates to Frank is because I did the same fucking thing to Frank. So I look at Doug and I go, dude, I can't pass this moment up. And he's like, well, talk to him. Like, go talk to him. I was like, yeah. So I walk up and I'm like, Joe Carter, how you doing? And I'm like just blasting this dude with all this like information. And I'm such a big fan, and blah blah blah. Like I got fanboyed out, totally fanboyed out on this guy. And he was awesome. He was really gracious, and we talked. And then after I calmed down, we talked about film financing and how difficult it is, and this kind of foreign pre-sales model that's, kind of screwed up filmmaking. And that, in the 70s, you had people that were just going out, 70s and 80s actually, you had people that were going out and just making films and just being experimental and just freaking going for it. And there's few, examples of that now. But by and large, filmmaking is turned into McDonald's. Like, it's just Big Mac. Like,
Yes.
people just trying to, make shit that sells, and it's not good for you.
It isn't.
And so we had this great conversation, really eye to eye, and I was like, oh man, that's cool. But Frank, same thing. I was at the Triple Nine premiere. Clifton Collins Jr. is, he's a good friend of mine, and we're working on some projects together. We're working on this piece called The Pond, Sabo Alvarez, and so we were, I went to the premiere with them and watched the movie, and meeting a lot of people and talking to a lot of people, and got to have a good conversation with Aaron Paul, who we reached out to when we were trying to package and put together we reached out to Aaron, so he was familiar with the script, and I talked to him about it. And it was just kind of like, normal conversations. And then I go walking past and I see Frank Miller come walking in, and the same fucking thing happened. Like, I turned around and I was like, Frank, dude, I'm such a dude. What are you, and just had this thing, and he's like, oh, buddy, nice to meet you. Okay, cool. Then I totally geeked it again. I was like, man, I love stuff. Like, so it was interesting. But so I saw that he was a guest on the show, and I'm like, oh, I got to share that story. But we talked for a little bit. We talked about movies, talked about fighting. I'm a big mixed martial arts fan, and I've done MMA since I was a kid. So it was interesting. It was a good talk, but I couldn't. It was that thing. I couldn't stop geeking out. There's certain people that geek. You meet Gary Oldman, I don't geek out. But meet Frank Grillo, and I lose my shit.
Right.
So, I don't know. But he's a great guy. Super great guy.
Yeah, he was really great to talk to. I honestly didn't even expect to get an interview with him. I thought he was a little too like a, too high in the food chain. And when his publicist just emailed me back like the same day I sent the email, yeah, I was really thrilled to get that interview, and it's definitely boosted my status as a fishbowl interviewer. So
Yeah.
thank you very much for coming to swim in the bowl with me.
Well, yeah, man. So you went up with him, and now you go down with me.
Right.
You got the downside.
Right.
you have, Marvel's crossbones up in here. You had the guy that was in Warrior slinging it out with friggin' Tom Hardy. Now you gotta come down with this guy, this clown. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm actually
But yeah,
very
that's awesome. No,
yeah, I'm actually very excited for Man Down to come out. Um, I've been like, I thought it was going to come out last year, and then I saw, I
mm.
guess it got pushed back or something um, to this year. It was still in development or something. But I've been like reading the synopsis for it, and I'm a huge Gary Oldman fan. Please just tell me, is he a bad guy?
No, it's not. The film is without giving anything away, and I believe the release date as it stands right now is December. It'll be out in theaters. Lionsgate premieres is behind it, and the performances are exceptional. I mean, it's Shia is always great. I hate
Shy
to
is great,
say.
yeah.
I mean, people try to, I know people want me to be like, it's the best performance of his career, but I love everything that guy does. I mean, American Honey is an incredible, it's an incredible film, and his performance in that is out of control. And his performance in Fury is amazing. I just think he's very dedicated to everything he does. And but Man Down is an incredible performance. I think some of the delay on it was, we screened it at the Venice, Italy Film Festival. I got a funny story about that. If you want me to, if you press me for it, I'll tell you later. But we did Venice, Italy, then we did the Toronto Film Festival, and there was some feedback, and Lionsgate had some input, and so after kind of showing it at film festivals, they went back. It's a new cut of the film, um, and so that cut of the film that is in its final state, its final version, is something that I think everybody's comfortable with and they're really happy with. So I'm really excited for people to see it and to see the performances. And Gary Oldman's great, dude. He's so great. And no, he's not a bad guy. This film really, it's not really structured that way. It's not really like villain,
Right.
good guy, bad guy, any of that. It's more of a story about a father's journey to find his son, and really is about came from. And I think it comes across in the film. That's the beautiful thing about it. A lot of times as a writer, you start off. I mean, I've polished scripts and done script doctor work and written stuff that other people have gotten credit for. And it's interesting because the thing that you start off with as a writer, it's really frustrating to be a writer in Hollywood, because I think Christian Bale said it best, that as a writer you start off with an idea, and very rarely does that idea make it from the writing process all the way through the screen and then is transmitted to an audience member. It's such a long telephone game from the moment that you put pen to paper, that it was a glorious and really kind of beautiful thing to see where it came from, which was I was homeless, I was living on the street for a short period of time. I was separated from my kids. I just wanted to be there for my children, to be a father, to be close to them, and that was impossible. And that's really the story of the movie. The story is a father's journey to find a son, and to see that so really painfully and beautifully portrayed, and to see it transmitted is just an amazing thing, dude. And Shia does an incredible job. Charlie Shotwell, who plays the son, he does heartbreaking work. And Kate Mara is great. Jai Courtney's fantastic. And Gary Oldman's phenomenal. He's always phenomenal. I could watch him if there was a movie of Gary Oldman drinking a carton of milk for 2 hours. I'd be the first guy in line. paying to see it.
I'm same here, same
He's
here.
incredible. I'm actually I'm going to a thing uh, this week with Gary. It's this documentary film on glass blowing done by this guy here in California, and Gary's actually in the film, in the documentary. Shows up and works with the glass and makes his own figures and stuff. It's really awesome. But he's a phenomenal human being. They all are. I'd seriously strangle a bag of puppies for Shia if it needed to happen. I love that
Oh,
guy.
I would love to get Gary and Shy and Jai on the fishbowl, but I'm not going to ask anything too much of you. But
Well, look, man. I mean, my rule is always I talk to everybody. Like I talk to everybody, and that comes from 2 years of being an artist assistant, uh, going around on the Comic Con circuit for 2 years. That's 2 to 3 cons a month, sitting in a booth, and when you're trying to get stuff off the ground and you're trying to sell scripts and you're just in the hustle. I'm not related to anybody in the industry. I'm not banging anybody in the industry. I don't. I have no connections. I have nothing that connects me to that world. All I have is the stories that I create. So being on the con circuit and being in that kind of situation, and also coming, being a street hustler for a while, it just taught me that you are above no one, and no one is above you. That you should talk to everybody when you have the opportunity. So independent bloggers. I mean, if you Google me, that's kind of the mainstay of people that I talk to. Independent bloggers, people on YouTube, whatever. If a guy's got a camera and a microphone, even if he doesn't, if he's got a pen and a piece of paper, I'll sit down and talk to him. And I think that keeps me connected. Um, major publications didn't really want to talk to me, even when the movie was in production. But everybody else did, and I forged some really great relationships with people. There's a good friend of mine, was a good friend of mine, rest in peace, Manny Koa. He was this independent blogger and just really big comic book fan, and was on the Comic Con circuit and would interview people and talk to people, and we became good friends. He passed away recently. And so you develop like these really great relationships with people, like yourself, that we're just slugging away and kind of in the same boat, just hustling and trying to get projects
right.
done. So I'll talk to anybody. And where I was going with that is, you know, a lot of these people are more approachable than you think, man. Like, I don't know if you follow Shai's art installments, but the Take Me Anywhere I thought was incredible. I mean, he's just like, here's my GPS coordinates, come pick me up. And then, he ended up like in Alaska and like all the way down, like all across the country. It was amazing, man. I love that because it's still an expression of something. It's still an artistic expression of something, but it's so grounded and connected to this like personal connection. Even the touch my soul, whatever naysayers or people have to say about it, even that, like it was a really cool, wonderful thing to just like, hey, call me. I want to talk to people. I want to talk to somebody. There's something really like simplistic and amazing in that. Um, I talked to Keanu Reeves a couple months ago, and we started talking about these pieces that Shia does. And in very honest, like no bullshit, like absolute sincerity, Keanu was just like, I think Shia is way too beautiful for this world. He's an amazing human being, and I couldn't agree more.
I definitely agree. Right.
So reach out,
Definitely will.
man. Reach to whoever the hell you
I
want to
got
talk
my
to.
IMDb Pro account, so if they got a publicist, talent agent, whatever, I'm sending those emails out. Fishbowl viewers, I just tried to get in contact with Sigourney Weaver and Michael Bean, and a few other people. So we'll see who bites.
Just be persistent, dude. Persistence,
Right.
persistence always wins. I always say that. You know, there's a lot of people that are better writers than me. There's a lot of people that are better actors than me. There's a lot of people that are more talented, that are better looking, more physically fit, whatever the fuck. But Will Smith said something one time. He said, I'd rather die. If I get on a treadmill and you're on a treadmill next to me, I'd rather die than let you run more miles than me, than be on that treadmill longer than me. And I'm the same way. Like you just being persistent and going out and just shaking the trees, man, going out and doing it. Things mathematically, eventually, you will have something break through. You just gotta, you gotta keep
Right.
going.
Couldn't
Just be
have said
persistent
it
with it.
better myself. One thing I just did want to bring up about Keanu Reeves. I have this
Yeah.
game that I've been playing with my coworkers and friends, and it's when the apocalypse finally happens. What celebrities do you want to round up and protect you and be your friends? And number one is like I have this whole like like basically like if there was a lone surviving group with like protecting Sam Fish, um, this is basically who it would be. Keanu is number one because after seeing the video for him training for John Wick 2 and the fact that the guy actually knows martial
Yeah.
arts and sword fighting and can shoot the wings off a fly at 500 yards. Uh, he seems like a really likable guy, and just someone that I'm like this would be an awesome guy to hang out with, especially if the end of the world happens and you need someone cool and awesome that can also handle a firearm and swords and knows kung fu and can protect you.
I'll tell you, like that Matrix stuff is not like he trains. I don't know if I should shout this out or not. Yeah, I think I'm all right. I don't know. I'll call him and be like, I'll call Keegan and be like, is this cool? Uh, he's trained for a long time with Master, a really good buddy of mine, Higa Machado. He does jujitsu with him, and Keanu's no joke, man. Like he can roll and he's a tough dude. But when you're absolutely right about your assumption. Like in meeting him, it was kind of like staring at the sun. Like he's just a very genuine, open, very kind human being, and it was that's a real deal. Like it's not there's so much PR and publicist bullshit in this town. And there's a lot of monsters in this town, like straight up monsters, like people that you wouldn't want to leave alone with your kids. And they're promoted and propped up as these really good, wholesome, wonderful people. And that's, my father was a bodyguard. I worked as a bodyguard for a long time. So I got to see some of these people and got to see some of these people up close. And there's some people out there that are just despicable, but they're propped up as really amazing human beings. But Keanu's not, man. He is just a great guy, really great guy,
It's so
really good
awesome
human
to
being.
hear. I mean, at a future point, I would love to get him on the show, and I actually sent an email to I think it was his publicist a while back. But you're absolutely right. Persistence is the key, and it's probably about time I sent another email and then add in the list of who I've interviewed Adam Simon.
There we go. There we go. That'll do you no good. Hey, so what do I got to do to get into your
Well, I'll
post-apocalyptic
tell you what, you're already in there.
friend
You're already in
friend
there.
group?
After this interview, Adam Simon's in.
There we go. There we go. That's awesome, man. I got my crew, man. I know exactly what. I'd freaking have. Uh, um, mine's a little bit. Mine would probably be a little bit different. I would have. It would be me. It'd be my buddy n.w.a, who's an actor. He's been in a ton of stuff on television. But that dude, he's a beast. Like he's a monster. But it'd probably be me, Noah, be my kids, be my girl, and I think I'm good. Oh wait, no, I'll throw my brother in there. My brother be good.
You know,
I don't know. How many people can be in this group?
Terms. So well, no, because you eventually want to get.
So it's
to,
like small
in a town
unit.
So like you got to have like your safe towns, and you need a rather large group, to have a town. So I mean, I got Arnold in there. I got Stallone. Like Arnold. Like Arnold would be like the old wise one. Like Arnold.
That's what you're using him for, right? Because Arnold.
Okay, so
right.
That's what you're using him for, right? Because Arnold's big, like he's muscular, right. But he couldn't punch his way out of a wet paper sack. So
right.
Can't use him.
But Arnold's great because like I actually read an interview that basically said like out of all the like action stars to portray the screen up until now, the only action star actor to like actually handle a weapon like a weapon is like legitimately handled and show it like on screen to really in every single film it's Arnold that he's been in. That dude knows how to handle a weapon. Like that's why he's the old wise one. Like him, I got him, Stallone, Jesse Ventura, because that dude was a legit Navy SEAL.
This is an amazing. It's basically
right.
You're just gonna have the cast of the Expendables. Right. That's what you're gonna do.
Really, the cast of like Predator.
That's a smart bet.
Predator, like That's in there. And I would have definitely The Rock. Like Dwayne Johnson just seems like again. I've heard this from multiple people in interviews and stuff. He's just like the nicest guy in the world. Well, not in the world, but one of the nicest guys in the world. And
Clifton just did a stint on Ballers.
Clifton just did a stint on Ballers. And he said The Rock's freaking amazing. He's a great dude.
Jr.'s fan. I've loved that guy since I saw him in Fortress, the Stuart Gordon movie with Christopher Lambert from the '90s. Like that movie was awesome. I love Christopher Lambert.
Yeah,
there can only be one.
And also Clifton, like where he comes from, like
and also Clifton, like where he comes from, like Pedro Gonzalez. He's just really excellent. I had the chance to. I mean, as far as my independent film, as far as Synapse goes, I have no idea when it's going to be distributed or when it's going to come out. I did my part. I wrote it. I acted in it. Now it's in other people's hands, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes out.
I just want to say, like another movie that Synapse reminds me of a lot. Speaking of Keanu, is Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely that world.
It's for sure. It's definitely that world. It's if you made Johnny Mnemonic a little less futuristic and a little more street, in the sense of like memories are sold in these things called mem chips, and they're sold like from your local dealer, your corner dealer or whatever. He's slanging memories. It's not a and then it started off in the film as a pharmaceutical that was approved by the government. Was supposed to help rehabilitate soldiers who had suffered brain trauma, stuff like that. And quickly, the side effect from the drug ended up being that once these memories are in your head, you can't get rid of them. So you're getting high off of other people's memories. You want to, be in an orgy? Cool, here's the memory. You want to go skydiving? Cool, here's the memory. You want to be a soldier? Great, here's the memory. But the side effect that they quickly found out was that these memories stay in your head, and with prolonged use of different memories, you can't differentiate between what's yours and what's somebody else's. So they outlawed it. And we basically took the history of crack cocaine in the United States and just switched it with memory chips. So it follows this drug enforcement agent, and he's working undercover, and come to find out that this addict who he busts has got a first-person memory of the murder of his wife and kid stuck in his head. So then it becomes, where did you get this? Who did you get this from? And then he starts going down the rabbit hole, and nothing's what it seems. I'm proud of it. I hope it, everything's a crapshoot, dude. When you start making a movie, from the time that you write it until it's actually distributed, anything can happen. Anything can go wrong. The thing could get shelved for 5 years. I'd worked out a distribution deal for Synapse, but other people felt that it should be distributed or handled differently, so they're handling it. And we'll see when it comes out. But I'm not waiting on that. So we've got Man Down. I've got another project, Sentinel, with Benaroya Pictures that they're working on right now, and The Pawn that I'm working on with Clifton and Gustavo Alvarez, and a project that I'm working on right now called No Quarter, which is brutal, and I'm excited to move that into pre-production. We're in development right now. We're securing the last bit of financing, and then
awesome. I am very excited.
Hopefully, be able to get that bad boy off the ground.
All those films, especially Man Down, which comes out later this year. Again, Shia LaBeouf, Jai Courtney, Gary Oldman. It's going to be pretty awesome. I know it. I love like post-apocalyptic films, and it's funny, you describe like the setting of like where you grew up, and I just want to say this because that's like pretty much the setting for most of my films.
We shot Man Down in New Orleans. It's very interesting though that the look of the film, what actually got translated from page to screen, ends up looking a lot like where I grew up. Like, we filmed it in down near the Ninth Ward and some of these other places that were devastated by Katrina. And Ditto's commented about this, how there really wasn't a lot of set design necessary because everything's still, a lot of these communities and sections of these places are still completely devastated, and it's heartbreaking. But the people are really strong and very resilient and really amazing, and they've started to rebuild and overcome. But a lot of these places, these abandoned housing developments, and, growing up, that was it. Like, we had the big housing boom there, so everybody was building. And then all of a sudden the housing market crashed, and then people started investigating and finding fault lines under, of development communities, and they just packed up, went bankrupt and walked away. So as a kid, I got to go, we'd go walk through, a couple dozen houses that were in a housing tract that were completely abandoned, and still are today. And it was like the apocalypse. There was, it's a desert landscape with a whole housing development of abandoned homes. Like, it was amazing, but it was cool to see that translated on the screen, that it made it through. I'm so excited for people to see Man Down. I really am. There's been some critics that have slapped it around. They got their own agendas, and I don't write scripts or make movies for fucking critics. But we've gotten a really great response from the veteran community and different nonprofits associated with veteran groups that we screen the film for. They love it. They support it, and you know, it's for them. And I hope it changes people's minds. I mean, the film's got a very, very serious message at its core. I can't, obviously talk about some of the things until, the trailer drops and some other things. Maybe we do a follow up or something, or I'll shoot you an email. But, the movie is bringing attention to something that nobody wants to talk about, and nobody's talking about it. And so I think that's another part that I'm excited for, that maybe in some way the film can be a catalyst for people to start talking, and it might bring about some change and some help for the men and women who serve so well and serve this country and put everything on the line.
Well, we are basically at around an hour, and I think that's a good place to stop. But I just want to say thank you again for coming to swim in the bowl with me.
Come on, man.
Awesome.
I'll talk to you whenever you want.
Awesome.
I'll talk to you whenever you want. You just hit me up, give me a call. I'll swim in the bowl.
Keep in touch.
Do a little backstroke.
I'd love to send you some of my own work just to check out. Get some notes. Let me know what you think, and just see where the fishbowl friendship with Adam Simon goes.
Dude, listen. There's a article that was written by, the name escapes me, but it's this guy who wrote a history of violence, and it's funny because that's like one of the only things he's written, co-written at that. But the script, the title of the script is "I will not read your fucking script." It's basically like, I've got all these friends tossing scripts at me, and I'm not going to read it because it takes time, and my time is worth money and all this stuff. But to me, like, I love reading other people's stories, and I'm reading scripts all fucking day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, that's what I'm doing. I'm reading them as an actor, I'm reading them as a screenwriter, and that's what I do. And I've gotten the system down to where I can look at something rather quickly and say, okay, look, like, here's the 30,000 foot view, here's what you probably need to take a look at and change. So when I say, you can send me something, you can send me something. Like, I get stuff all the time, and I really mean it. If you shoot me an email, send me some scripts, I'll take a look at it, and it may be, hey, this is really great, you should send it to somebody, or it might be, hey, here's my thoughts, and I'll give you a critique.
So, look out, Fishbowl's
send it my way, homie.
Food chain.
Cool, brother. Well, listen, hit me up. It was lovely talking to you. I'm excited for you to see the film. When the trailer drops, I'll shoot you an email. And then on these other projects that I'm working on, especially No Quarter, I'll let you know when we move into pre-production on it.
Looking forward to chatting up again.
Awesome, my brother.